my cloud doing that now. So we are recording. So this will eventually, eventually at some point in the next few days, we'll flip this over to, I'm just making my dear friend here host again. It's like a game of ball, you know. Your host, no, your host, no, your host. So there you go.
Well,
so you're over
here, so I might be able to just stream it off of my TV over here.
Oh well, even better then.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, you were dropping so much knowledge, and I was getting kind of frustrated because like I want to hear this, like I want more. So let me just I'll just throw this on, and doesn't really matter if there's too much of an intro, but oh wait, I should probably name it, huh? Probably name the live stream first.
That would be very Daoist. No name, you know, just no name. Anom.
You have so much of a background in that too. So have you like been through China and kind of all through Tibet and places like that as well?
Yeah, that was part.
Are we okay? Oh no. Oh no. What's going on? It's got to be this. Oh no. There's always something. Let me see. Oh, Sifu.
Okay, my computer's decided it's having a quick reset, but I should be back very shortly, so stand by.
It's so funny. Oh, you're back. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself.
It's like, are you kidding me, universe? No, you know, because me saying, oh yeah, I'm cool about it. Okay, let's see how cool you are. Bosh.
Right.
No, I know.
That way. That is so funny and so typical of the universe. It's insane.
I know, it's cool, isn't it? So yeah, so where I was like saying, so my teachers very much believed everything you learn enhances everything else you do, and you know, what's the word for theoretically or medically? Medically, I was only when I was about 38, I was actually diagnosed with dyslexia, dyspraxia, and a touch of autism. And the interesting thing with like diagnosis that in the West we see that as a disability, but in the FT 500 index businesses they actually look for people who are dyslexic, dyspraxic, even autistic people, because autistic people, they're very analytical brains, so you know they're almost like supercomputers. And it's this really interesting thing that the rest of society has been sort of programmed to think, oh, these are disabilities, where certain people, certain individuals go, no, these are talents, these are skills, because they think in certain ways. And I think that combination for me, I'm very good. I love learning, you know, out of the box stuff. I love learning in different directions, you know. So I've studied theology, you know, studied religions for over 10 years, all different religions, studied quantum physics, studied because of being a trained barefoot doctor means that they were in with the Barefoot Doctor. You had to study, so you had to study the body mechanics as well as anatomy and physiology. You also had to study the energy works, so the energy systems, and this is where people get a little bit, are misled or confused, because actually, just like in your body, you've got bones and muscles and vertebrae and fascia and nerves. In your energy system, in your consciousness, you have meridians, chakras, aura, Merkaba, Torah, and dantians, which are layers. Like, think of a cake. The different layer. I used to be a baker and a chef, so I bring up food a lot. I use that as an analogy. So it's different layers, and all those layers are important, but they're all together. But what happened is that, and according to where I went to different places, they would say that originally, they're talking about pre-Atlantis, pre-Lemuria. At one point, society was one. There was one unity, one society, or this information was in one, and then it split, and it became sort of like fractals, like in sacred geometry. And so meridians and dantians sort of went into the east mainly. The Merkaba was in Judaism, but it's also in Tibet. The Torah field, the flower life. Now that a little bit was in China, and it was other places as well. The aura, we could talk in Christianity. We talk about the light, the light, and that's a lot of that's the aura. The chakras. The chakras stayed a lot in India, and like nowadays people talk a lot about chakras, but when you only talk about chakras, you only actually talk. It's like me only talking about bones. Bones are the most important thing in the body. Well, bones help. Otherwise, you'll just be like a jelly. But there's also all the other organs and all the other nerves. So all these energy systems are interconnected. So I had to learn all of that. I learned about anatomy, physiology. I learned about bonsai. I've learned about martial arts, because in wartime, Qigong is martial arts and Tai Chi is martial arts, but in peacetime, it's moving meditation and it's energy work. It's spiritual. So all these things are integrated, and some people say, oh, that's so complicated. Well, it's only complicated if you see it all at once, but when you zoom out or you zoom in and look at one thing, you can focus on that one thing, go okay, and then focus on another thing, okay, and focus on another thing. It's no different like a puzzle. If you see a puzzle, a puzzle's on the floor and there's 500 pieces, and look, oh, it's so complicated. Just take one piece, okay, and now another piece, and now another piece, and then eventually all those pieces become a whole picture, and you get the whole point. And the Tao, the word the Tao, is bringing everything to balance. The whole point. The difference is, in the West, we see balance almost like a flat line. We see the scales, which, you have to balance the scales until they're straight, they're steady. And that's very linear. In the Eastern concept, in Daoist concept, so the Tai Chi symbol, yin yang, a lot of people call this yin yang, but its true name is actual Tai Chi, because it's meant to be moving. And if you turn it on its side, it looks like a wave. And a wave, the point of a wave is that your goal, if you're on a boat or a surfboard, is to be on your board and you balance with the waves. As the wave comes up, you ride the wave, and as the wave goes down, you ride that wave. And life is the same. Life is always changed. There's ups and there's downs. The bigger the up, the bigger the down. And when you learn to actually start to ride those waves and go according to the flow of the universe, things go into a balance. You start, you drift along with the tides, but in a flowing way, in a good way. And it's when you start understanding this, that this is why not just in China you had Taoists, but you've got the American Indians, you've got the Aborigines, you've got the Inuits, and these people, the ancient cultures, they lived according to the environment they were in. And a lot of them were actually moved from environment to environment, because certain seasons you go to certain places and you get certain things. So whether you're nomadic physically, as in you move from place to place, or you're just nomadic in, you know, oh, in the winter I'll eat more hotter foods, and in the summer I eat more cooler foods, and you know, I feel a bit low, let's do something really bubbly today, really fast, or you know, you know, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed with energy, let's chill out a bit. And when we do this, when we actually flow with energy and flow with our environment, we find our own personal Tao, because the Tao is personal. Your way is your way, like my way is mine. You know, my way is not going to suit everybody, but you know, everybody has their own personal way, and this is the fact. We sort in the rat race in our society, we try to keep up with the Joneses, but maybe you're not meant to keep up with the Joneses. In fact, keeping up the Joneses may be detrimental to you. Therefore, you want to slow down, and that's not a bad thing. But maybe the Joneses are too freaking slow for you, and maybe you want to go 15 times faster. And that's your thing, and we live in a society that's trying to put everybody into trying to put all these round pegs, which we are, into square holes, or the other way around, put a square hole, you know, a square peg in a round hole, you know, and that's our society forces us to try to be a certain way, and that's why we struggle so much, and that's why people end up having, you know, people get addicted to things, because you're actually in a void. You have this emptiness, and people say, oh, you know, you'll find that in God or music or drugs or bananas or whatever. But the true balance is inside you, you know, the connection within, you know. And when you actually, I studied theology, lots of different religions over a 10-year period, and when you look at their actual core, they all say the same thing about searching the truth inside, and God is everywhere and everything. But when you actually start listening to the newer versions of sorts, they start manipulating, God is this or God is that, you've got to come to this church or the mosque, or you've got to do it in this way, and things were manipulated and altered, and it's this understanding that, you know, wherever your peace is, it's everywhere, but it's also in here. You've got to find it in here, and then everywhere becomes peace. It's a little bit like the great Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, they talk about epigenetics, and that's all about the study of that your moods affect your health and well-being. So if you're happy and vibrant, your body actually, your immunity increases, it gets stronger. But if you're scared and nervous and frightened, as we really know, when we get stressed, you know, there's more likelihood of us getting colds and flus. We knew that in 2019, but in 2020, suddenly we're told, you know, wear a mask, watch out for this, watch out for that, you know, beware of flying zombies. And now everybody's really scared. And the interesting thing of that certain illness that I'm not going to mention, that thee who shall not be named, is that they say it especially attacks people with weakened immune systems. Well, epigenetics proves that if you are stressed and frightened and scared, that weakens your immune system. So being scared and frightened about the thing that we shall not name is actually increasing the chances of you getting the thing that we shall not name.
Yeah, 100%. You broke that down too, because we've been preached that. You're right. Since 2019, it's like 2020, the script flipped, and I mean, it's not like they weren't feeding us fear, but you know, it's just completely amplified.
Well, everything's changed. Originally, before in 2019 and before that, if you wore a mask all the time, everybody think you're a scary person. Now, if you don't wear a mask, you're a scary person.
Yeah, that's so funny.
What?
It completely flipped on its head. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing, see, the thing is, like with me, like apart from to say I'm a generator, but I feel energy. You know, when people talk, or like say when I see music, especially like when people talk about being on certain drugs. Even though, as I say, you've got all the drugs you need in your brain. You've got DMT in your brain. In fact, your adrenaline is clinically proven to be 10 times more powerful than cocaine. But anyway, yeah, exactly, and that's why, you know, they did, because they basically, you know, did a sample of the adrenaline in its purest form, against cocaine, and it was even stronger than the cocaine. It was a tiny, like, tiny little drop. So the whole thing of for me, with music, and I see and feel things, and I see the energy. And in 2019, when people were saying, oh, next year's going to be so good, it's like, what, 2020? Actually, I like I say, I didn't forecast what happened, but I knew the metaphor. I knew that everything was going to flip on its head. I knew, I could feel the vibration building up, that things were going to go topsy-turvy, that life was going to spin round. And like I say, it all sounds like it's like one of those like riddles that at the time sounds like meaningless, but now it is what's happened. And next year is, in some ways, it's going to make in some ways it's going to be a lot better for certain people, but and not the people you think. With the people who feel that they're going crazy next year are going to feel relieved, and the people who are definitely trying to grasp onto everything in the past, that's the ones that are going to get flipped on the head. I very much feel that the energy next year, what this year done physically, next year it's going to be more in here. It's going to be even more internal for the people who haven't opened up yet. I mean, and how many people do you know have woken up this year that suddenly, hold up, there's something wrong here. They're starting to see the lines of the matrix. They're starting to see things that, well, that's going to treble. I really believe that's going to, next year it's going to be treble to what it was this year, at least, if not more. And I think that almost like internal madness is going to be, the people who are desperately clinging on, it'll be like, the tornado is going crazy and ripping every apart. As soon as you let go, boom, suddenly you're in the eye of the tornado, and the tornado just, miraculously disappears. It's all around you, but you yourself. And I think it's about, when we start waking up, you'll start seeing things in a different light. Literally what the pineal gland does is that it allows different lighting, and I think that's what next year is ultimately about. I mean, the alignment, the star alignment is basically, now they feel, that does, when you hear the description of the Star of Bethlehem, it looks like what you got, right now at this moment, which only happens every 800 years. Start to think, so the whole thing, I think it's an interesting concepts here. I think it's interesting. And so, I think you would, like you were saying about, like what we know about sound. And I think the whole point for me, there's a thing about, people could talk about divine masculine and divine feminine, and I think they mix it up. I think when they say, oh, divine feminine, they talk about the woman, and oh, divine masculine, the male. Well, divine feminine, divine masculine are actually energies, the qualities. Yes, you have men and women, but masculine and feminine, and there's an energy as well. The masculine is getting things done, creating a new idea, starting things up, jumping into battle, sorting things out, is really action. The feminine keeps it going. The feminine nurtures it and loves it and allows it to grow. And we, as men and women, we're meant to have both these qualities. The old paradigm, men were very masculine and females were very feminine. That's what was pushed. And so for females to get into business, they had to become very aggressive, very masculine. So they went too much, they've gone a lot the other way. And so I feel when people talk about, the divine feminine needs to take over, but they're talking in a very aggressive way. It's like, no. Yes, the feminine energy needs to balance, definitely, but it doesn't mean doing it in an aggressive way. It's about actually going back to the softness, is softening up a little bit. And men need to soften up in a different, in that different way. We need to open up to our emotions more and express ourselves and allow ourselves. And music's a great way to do that. But the reason I brought this up was, you have the divine feminine energy, you have the divine masculine energy. There's one in the middle, and it's called the sacred child or the inner child. And we think when we're children, we must grow up and be adults. They even misinterpreted the saying in Christian about when child, play like a child, be like a child, but when be a man, you must be like a man. It's actually, according to my friend who read Hebrew, the translation is actually being a child, but taking responsibility like an adult. So when you're an adult, you still play like a child, but you take responsibility like an adult. So responsibility as in you do something wrong, it's down to, everything is down to you. You can't blame other people. It's down to you. Even when, even if you're stuck in a corner where you can fight or you can climb, there's always more than one option. And I learned physically. My teachers literally taught me a metaphor by throwing me into a river. They threw me into the river and say, swim to the other side. So this strong current, I'm desperately trying to swim and almost drowned, because I'm fighting against the flow. And then I get dragged out, given 5 minutes breather, thrown back in again. So now try again. It's like, and as I get thrown in, I just hear relax. So it's like, okay, so I'm too knackered to try to fight against the stream. So I relaxed. And by relaxing, I pretended I was like a piece of driftwood. And the current eventually, after a while, pushed me to the bank. And that metaphor is that when you fight against the universe, you'll fight against the universe. The universe is going to win. It's bigger than you. It's got more energy than you have. But when you go with the flow, eventually it will take you to the side. It'll carry you to where you need to go. So one of the Taoist philosophy is go with the flow. Allow yourself, to be assertive when you need to, but also to listen and be aware of what's going on. So this play is about you play and you listen and you find out stuff. And I strongly feel, like you were saying about, what we don't know about sound, I strongly believe that if you personally, if you play with it and you allow things, try different things and experiment with different things, you'll find a lot of the old information out. Because like I said to you on Instagram, I definitely feel the reason you're here is because this is what you used to do. You used to be you were an energy shaman, a mystic, a psychic, not on another planet, a quantum physicist, sound healer, whatever you want to freaking call it. I definitely feel the vibration of that in you. So that is your passion. So play with your passion. Be part, go with that passion, and the information will come to you. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and that you said so many beautiful things just in a row. That metaphor with going with the flow, that it makes so much sense, especially the community that I'm kind of co-leading right now is called Wave. So I've been really conceptualizing these wave concepts. So that within itself was such a beautiful visual for me to see. And I'm very appreciative of all the love for I don't have much recollection of past lives or anything that I've been. I've also been told that in one of my past lives, I went to astral project and I didn't protect my vessel when I left. So I had been like possessed or something when I left. So now I have like some weird block. My soul's put up this interesting block to kind of keep me in this reality.
Not for long.
Yeah,
because you work with sound, it won't be there. Blocks won't be there for long. But so a lot of people talk about shields or creating shields. Well, in war, if you have a big shield, or if you have a big suit of armor on, the biggest problem with that is you're freaking visible. Everybody can see you from miles away. If you've got a big shiny shield or you're in big shiny armor, you're pretty, in sunshine. Oh, look, there he is. Yeah. Let's go for that. That looks like a good target. Yeah. So the thing with shields or creating shields or walls is that you create something. You're bringing something that shows up. It's very visible. The Tao is like filters. Filters is a bit like a ninja. It's like we're wearing like camo. Camo. You're hidden. And the filter. So a filter. Quite verbally, a filter. One of my filters is quite simply, I only allow in what helps me grow. So it's something super, super negative that's not actually going to help me grow. I don't see it. Well, I can see it, but I pay no attention to it, and it doesn't see me. And I've known that for a fact, that I've been to haunted houses and some really scary the houses that were sort of known for really dark stuff, and like things flying through the room. I go there, boom, everything stops. I actually went to, in Russia, there was a KGB prison, which was notoriously known for these dark entities to be there. I go there, everything stops. And it freaked out the people who worked there. It freaked them out because, this has never happened before. I don't understand what's going on. And as soon as I left, it all started up again, which it freaked him out even more. So it's the whole, and I've actually gone to some psychics in the past. They go like, oh, you're too, you're so intense. I don't know if I should be, scared of you. You're so, the energy coming off of you. And it's this thing of, you are, right. So there's a scientist called Nissan Harriman. As you may have noticed, I go all over the place. I do 10,000 things at once. But so Nissan Harriman, great physicist. And this is a pint glass, but pretend it's a cup, or that's almost a cup. So he actually says that a cup full of space, all the atoms in space, that there's so much energy in that space that cup could evaporate all the oceans on Earth. There's so much energy in that space. Well, think about it. How many cups are there in you? Even if you're super, super skinny, there's still quite a few cups. So there is a lot of energy in our atoms. And now Nissan Harriman's gone further, and in the Dragon Dog Shaman, one of the things I'm like ordained in, the Dragon Dog Shaman were like spiritual physicists, and they believed, and sort of Nissan Harriman sort of confirmed this, is that they believed that the sun was a stargate, that things could come through, vessels and beings can come through there, and you see ancient pictures of the sun, and you see like a black triangle or black hole, and they're drawing ships coming through them, and the people, archaeologists say, oh, that's fake, or oh, that's real, but when they carbon date it, it's older, it's more than like 2,000 years old, which is a bit interesting. But so Nissan Harriman actually looked at the sun and the data coming from the sun, and his strong philosophy, originally he was called a skeptic, and they not skeptic, sorry, they poo-pooed him, said, even though he's a physicist, he's a crazy person, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now they're listening, that he's actually saying the data is showing that instead of this, the original concept was a brown dwarf, or a sun, an old sun, a dying star gets bigger and bigger and bigger, then it collapses in on itself and it creates a black hole. The pressure builds so much it punches a hole through space and creates. What he's saying is the data in our sun is showing there is a black hole in the center of our sun. And he strongly believes that there is a black hole in every sun in the galaxy and maybe the universe. And that's what the ancients talk about. He goes one step further. Now, the ancients also talked that this same principle of yang, so yang is light, it's masculine, or it's light, it's many different things, yang, but yang is the light. So the unlimited energy is on the outside, and on the inside is the tunnel, the yin, which can be feminine, but it's also darkness. It can also be, like the void. And they would say that yang is on the outside, and in the center is a gate, a tunnel, a void, a entrance. It is go somewhere. But they also said that in our body there are countless suns and countless black holes inside. There are countless yangs with the yin inside. And Nissan Harriman's actually saying, when he looks at atoms, he now believes there are micro black holes inside every atom. That the atom, and because an atom is both a particle and a wave, which freaks people out as it is. But inside that, there is actually, he strongly believes there are atoms inside the black holes. Now, when I heard this, it's double freaked me out because I'd already got told this by these shaman. And, you know, so you're doubly hearing, you know, this news. When this N. Harriman, I heard this first about 10 years ago. It's like, my God, that's what they were saying. It's like, so this time, all the ancient knowledge is being revealed. All the ancient knowledge is coming to the light. You know, over the last, in the last, 30 years, you know, you've got the Carillion camera that sees the aura, but it also started to see the chakras. You've got the Russians created a biomagnetic channel. Well, they created a machine camera that could actually see the biomagnetic field channels. That's what they called them. The Chinese call them meridians. You now have about 10 years ago, the biomagnetic field was found in the heart. And as you get happy, this field expands. And as you get scared and frightened, this field contracts. As it contracts, all the cells that are no longer in that field, they start to diminish. As that field increases, all the cells in that field, they flourish again, which is part of epigenetics. They're saying that when you're scared, you know, your body starts going to into fight or flight mode, but that means it reserves all its energy, so it stops healing. So and the science is actually saying that we're meant to, you know, in the DNA it's actually showing that we're at least meant to live to 150 years before we get old, not die 150, but we're supposed to live to 100. And they were actually saying that was the conservative amount because they thought the actual truth, the evidence is showing 300 to 500 years, which in both in the Bible and in Hindu texts, they talk about people who are 500 years old or older. Yeah. And so it's interesting, but because the first question is, well, if we're meant to be that old, why aren't we? Well, our society, especially at this moment in time, we focus on fear. We focus on, only the fittest will survive, and this and that, and the body. It's found in psychology that what you focus on, what your mind focuses on, your mind can't, and your body can't tell the difference between what you imagine and what is real. And they did experiments with this with athletes where they got them to imagine doing the race that they'd done 1,000 times before, and they sat there imagining the race, and the heart starts to race, their muscles start to move, they start to sweat because in their mind they're doing that race, and it's shown scientifically that the mind can't tell the difference between what you imagine and what is real. It sees it the same thing. So if you're told over and over again, you get up to a certain age, you start getting wrinkly, you start getting old, and you get to a certain age, aches and pains, that's normal, that's old age. Well, when I was a kid, old age was like when you're 50, 60. Now people, I almost said the D word, certain professionals will say to 25-year-olds, to 30-year-olds, aches and pains, that's old age. What the frick? What the puck? I said puck. And of course, the placebo and nocebo effect. Placebo is focusing what you focus on. If you believe a sugar tablet is the real thing, you believe something is a positive thing, there's an 70 to 80% chance that you'll make it come true, that positive thing come true. The nocebo works the other way around. If you believe that something's not going to help you, however, you get the best tablet in the world, the best pill in the world that works for everybody, but you believe it won't work for you, you really believe that nothing can help you, you'll make that true. There's a 70 to 80% chance you'll make that true. So the saying, if you do believe in it or if you don't believe in it, you are right, is true. Is that we are the creators of our own reality. And there's another guy called Derren Brown, who's very popular in the UK. He's sort of a mentalist. He does hypnosis and things. He did this show on luck, and there was this guy, this butcher, who always said, I'm always been unlucky. I'm never lucky. Everything always, if anything's going to go wrong, it always goes wrong for me. And behind the scenes, they purposely did things. They put a scratch card in his door, and if he scratched it, he'd have won $20. Let's say, it was in English, but let's say it's dollars, so he won $20. Never does the scratch card. They then put a beautiful woman with a board asking questions, and if he asked the questions, he got $50. Walk straight past the woman, says, "Oh, I don't have time." Walk straight past. They put a wad of $200, let's say, on the floor. He walks straight past it, doesn't even see it, and he literally almost taps it with his foot. And it ended up that this guy, Darren Brown, had to do this big notice board. Let's say his name was Bob. Says, "Bob, call this number now, immediately." Bob the Butcher. And he calls it, and they show him the video of, we did this, you ignored it. We did this, you ignored it. We had money on the floor that you walk straight past and you don't see it. This thing of you're unlucky, you're actually making yourself unlucky by believing it so much. And in the end, they do this thing where the whole village get offered, if you give $2,000, roll these dice. If you get 12, you'll win $1 million. And he says, I've always been unlucky. I always thought I was unlucky, and now, and he takes that chance. He takes the risk, and he wins. Whether it was staged or not, he wins. And the point is that I think that a lot of people imprison themselves in their own prison. We are imprisoned by our own thoughts and feelings, and we've got to understand, we've got to help release that. Now, I can teach you Qigongs that will help do that and bring up your energy and can help you, but I strongly feel music is another way to do that. Music can, when people can't see it one way, there's another way, and that, to me, music inspires me. I love music, and like I say, when I do Qigong round music, it builds my energy up and it vibrates my energy and tone and frequency. So, it's a big passion of mine, and I've talked for too long, so it's your turn.
No, seriously, I'm just sitting here downloading all this information. I mean, I really think what you said in the live stream, I did catch in just a little bit for you to say this, is that you said you were like a 528. That was the frequency you're associated with. Yeah. The term that we kind of have deemed in the wave community is like a wave generator. Like you generate that frequency, and that is the frequency that comes out of you. And I very much agree with that. So no need to apologize. All of this is like still breaking all the boundaries. Like the fact of there being like a atom inside of a black hole, but then that black hole is inside of another atom, and like all of that being in the sun, like just proves, one, the fractal universe, but also that everything is vibration, frequency, and energy at a pure level. And this is inspiring so many new thought patterns, and it's so great. But I do very much agree that music has, this kind of sixth power that you can't really, it's like metaphysical almost. And kind of the way that I would maybe describe it is, we just recently read the Book of 528. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book. It's by Dr. Leonard Horowitz. We just read that on my YouTube channel. We read it live. And in that, it really dives into, explains a lot about 528 and dives really deep into what 528 is. It mathematically and scientifically proves that, and how 528, once we're able to institute it, will kind of reverse all of this dissonance that's been going on. But also it talks about like the universe, and how the universe kind of works based off of, like you're saying, energy and chakras and consciousness, and all of these energy terms I haven't necessarily been introduced to, but like meridians and all of these things, that it's like a musical mathematical matrix that fluctuates inside of a hydrosonic, double toroid field basically. And that the solfeggio frequencies are the kind of like the core vibrations of what are being emitted, and the concept of the sun, and then the reversing of the black holes. It gives me so many visuals from different movies, and that just makes so much sense. And it's really cool that you bring in this information now, just because like I said, I read the Book of 528, so it's just all of it's clicking.
Yeah, well, the whole thing of free, well, there's a whole thing there, but like the whole thing. Remember, when you get a tuning fork, if you hit a tuning fork and then put it next to a piano, the piano will start vibrating. You know, the string in the piano will start vibrating. Because or you get two tuning forks together, you hit one, the other tuning fork will start to actually vibrate as well, because like attracts like. The frequency will raise the vibration of other things. So the whole thing, oh, that terminology or that metaphor is that energy will vibrate, will resonate other energies. So, you know, when you feel somebody, like you say, oh, you know, this is vibrating, is that this frequency is vibrating with you and raising that frequency, that tone. And that's what music does. The whole point of, you know, I've been in clubs doing mixing, where you know, you have one music and you see they're enjoying it, but suddenly you put on something that they really love and it's like a wave. The whole people, oh, and they all explode and they all go together, and you feel that energy, you know, you feel that vibration. Now, the FBI did experiments back in the late 90s up to 2001, where the second to last experiment was they got 2,000 meditators together. So people who did yoga or meditation got 2,000 people together into hotels in the city. I always get, because I know there's two Washingtons, but the city state were Washington DC. They put them up into a couple of hotels and had 2,000 people meditating over a weekend, and for no apparent reason, that was found that the crime rate dropped by 25% in Washington DC. They then did that a few months later. They did that with 7,000 people worldwide, and worldwide the acts of crime and terrorism dropped by 70% in the whole of the world, with 7,000 people. So this whole thing of like hitting a tuning fork and it vibrates with the thing next to it. When you get enough people, you know, if a charger, you know, you get a charger and I can vibrate in a room, you get 2,000 average Joe or 2,000 people who are all resonating, focus on peace and love, meditating all together. You can actually affect a city. You get 7,000 people, you can affect the world. What happens with 14,000 people? What happens with 100,000 people? What happens with 1 million people? What happens with 1 billion people? Yeah. You know, and I think, you know, when people, the whole thing of fear, if everything, I love the thing of you said about the waves. You have a wave can only last as long as there isn't another wave bigger, the stronger. So, you know, you have a wave, you know, you drop a pedal and you get a wave. If you splash the water, that wave will countersee the other wave and will take it over. So if we're in, you know, darkness and fear, when you start bringing harmony, when you bring a mass of people focusing on love and vibration, and that builds up and that builds up, that energy affects, you know, but people have said many times, you know, not just like me, but, you know, so, oh, when that person walks into the room, the energy changes. Oh, you know, you feel, you know, that they brighten the room up. Or the other opposite. Oh, they walk in the room and everybody, oh, you know, suddenly everything is dark. And people are energy. People are like a big speaker or a lighthouse. You naturally are vibrating out energy. The Torah field in our hearts, this biomagnetic field, as you get more happier and exuberant, it gets bigger and bigger. Mother Teresa, Gandhi, especially, these people were known that they would say that you could sense them from a village away. You could sense their energy. You could feel the energy as they, you know, affected the crowd. Malcolm X was another person that, you know, he was known that, you know, just him walking into room, people could feel the energy change. So people are natural. There are natural tuning forks. We are all natural tuning forks. But when we start all tuning together the same frequency, that bounces off each other, that enhances. So where I was saying about, you know, next year, I feel like, you know, the people who are more awake, things will change. The energy will change in a different way. The ones who are asleep or desperately trying to cling on to something will feel really be shaken, shook by what's going on. But if they let go and go with the river and go with the flow and just drift, they'll find the bank. They'll find their bank, their resident frequency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so much. And wow, the concept that I even got out my tuning fork just to, so you're saying like, there's a few things I want to ask questions about. So you're saying like, just by me doing this and putting this like on rose quartz, I'm generating 528 into this rose quartz, and I'm charging this crystal with 528.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not to be offensive, I sort of want to go, duh, one thing vibrates another, but it's changing of when people who have worked with energy and frequency know this. You know that even a solid structure is affected by vibration. And we sort of know this when we talk about haunted houses. Oh, there's a dark energy in there. Well, that darkness is seeped into the walls. But you can have the opposite. You can have a loving home. When people, go and say, oh, you hear people going, looking at, this house feels right. Why do we use these words? Everything is metaphors. Everything, when we say stuff subconsciously a lot of the time. It feels right because it's vibrating with your frequency. That house has the positive, that energy, not necessarily positive, but it has the energy that you vibrate with. And that's why certain places, you go to certain sacred sites, I feel very, I'm opening up, I feel God more, I feel the energy more, because that place is vibrating at a certain frequency that you resonate with. And so this, that idea is that energy, this is what they talk about. Somebody on Instagram said, put it on your third eye. A tuning fork is a funnel. So it's a funnel going down to a point. So it's pushing, even though the vibration feels going that way, it's also going this way. So putting it on the third eye or your heart, you're tuning your energy to that frequency. So, if you're, and I'm not saying it's a miracle pill, but, if you know somebody who's got a different organ problem, and put it on that organ, and it will change the frequency. Of course, if you can really focus on that, believe in that, that also works. But there's also a Taoist trick, is that if my belief in it is stronger than your disbelief, because if my vibration is stronger than yours, my wave will over the thing there. And it's not like I'm over forcing you, but if I'm overfilling with love, and if you're going one way, it's a bit like water in a bowl. It's going one way. You start putting your finger in the other way. The first thing that happens, you get splash up, you get chaos. So there's sometimes resistance in people because they're so used to a certain flow. Even if it's stagnant water and they become stagnant, they're used to that flow, they're used to that vibration. So first they get resistance, but when you keep, you just keep that frequency going and don't have ego there, and just, it is what it is. Or I'm just hitting my fork. That's all I'm doing. I'll just keep that vibration going.
Exactly.
Just keep that vibration going.
Yeah.
A bit like, was it Dory from
Finding Nemo?
Yeah, Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming. Keep swimming.
That's so true. To take that a step further, because that concept itself holds so much power. Something I've been kind of doing on my channel, something I came into in I think September, and I've been kind of practicing it, forcing myself to do it in front of camera, because I definitely have a good amount of anxiety, especially getting in front of bigger crowds. But it's kind of this concept of taking, and this is why I'm sure I really want to bring it up to you, because you've been with monks and it sounds like you really have a practiced vibration, being able to hum that and oming and all of this stuff. So there's just this one moment where it kind of hit me, was if oming is tuning to supposedly it's a Schumann resonance, or it's this kind of universal ohm, couldn't we do the same thing to 528? So I just kind of played 528. I can do it here. I won't do it because sometimes it'll blast through my through the speakers. I did that live with Mystic Spider-Man, but like I just play this 528 tone and then hum to it. And it manually can tune your vibration literally into this space. And as I've been doing this with others, I found that, you know, breathing through your diaphragm is the better way, because then you can, you know, kind of create this cycle of breath. Well, then if you look at this right here, which is the symbol for Anahata, the heart chakra, there's literally a diaphragm on that body, signifying that the universe is kind of this, that diaphragmatic breathing really tunes you into that area.
And in Qigong, there's a thing called belly breathing. So, and they say breathe from the belly, and people say, well, you can't breathe from the belly. But when you expand the belly, so belly breathing is, as you breathe in, let the belly rise, let it expand outwards, and feel like you've got a ring around you. So it's your whole belly expanding. And then when you breathe out, gently pull your belly in. So you can use your hands. So breathe in, let the belly expand. Breathe out, gently pull the belly in. And do it in a way that's like a wave. So you breathe in till you can't breathe in anymore, let the belly expand. And then once you can't breathe in anymore, gently start to breathe out. And as you breathe out, pull your belly in. And when you can't breathe out anymore, you start breathing in again. So just do it as a wave, gently breathing in, let the belly expand, breathing out gently.
Feels like a wave. Wow.
And this is actually called waterway breathing. So that breathe in, you can't breathe in anymore, then breathe out. And when you can't breathe out anymore, you breathe back in again, and expanding the belly and then pulling it back in. Now, why this is important? So when you expand the belly, your diaphragm, your lungs, or what your diaphragm does, your diaphragm bends downwards. As you expand the belly, it gets pulled downwards, and the lungs get pulled open. So it's by breathing with the belly expanding outwards, you're actually drawing in as much oxygen as possible. And then as you breathe out, you pull the belly in, you're actually squeezing, like squeezing the sponge. You're pushing the diaphragm back up, squeezing the air out. So you're actually getting the full capacity of the lungs, which means you actually get the full capacity of the blood capillaries, or the oxygen. You oxygenate the blood more. So this belly breathing, now the reverse of that is breathing in. As you breathe in, you pull the belly in, and then breathe out, you relax the belly, and that's called fire breath, and that does certain things as well. But belly breathe, the waterway, the problem with a lot of people, when they do it the opposite way, they create tension. And they're actually tensing the body in the wrong way. And tensing your body in the wrong way, actually, in actual fact, when people have tension in their neck and shoulders, especially, it's like you're strangling yourself. So when you're tense here, I'm really tense. You're literally like your muscles are literally closing around your own throat and create tension. But when and that tension in my family system, Shun system that I was taught, so this Shun Dao family system, tension in your shoulders, the saying of Atlas, the world is on your shoulders. This is literally a metaphor. When you have the tension in the shoulders, it literally feels like everything's bogging down on you, all the pressures of your life. So it's a bit like the chicken and the egg. Which one came first? The feeling that you're being overwhelmed, or the tension in your shoulders. One indicates the other. When you've got tension in your neck, in the Daoist system, in the ancient healing system, this indicates what you're trying to create in your head and what you're trying to physically do. There's a blockage, because the neck is the bridge between the mind and the physical body. So it's like, I've got so many ideas, but I'm struggling to do them. Check your neck.
Wow.
Because if there's tension in your neck, that's indicating what you're trying to achieve. You're being overwhelmed. There's tension in your shoulders. That indicates. So everything is a metaphor. The body has so many metaphors, and the whole point, again, going back to music, the whole point of music is like having a masseuse. In actual fact, the sound therapy, you can actually put sound, vibrate through the body and affect the body in that way. But music itself chills people out, and this is the whole reason why back in the 90s, that nightclubs, I knew certain people that worked on this, that nightclubs had green rooms or chill out zones where the main disco, you had the high tense music, but then you'd have for the VIPs or certain sections you'd have chill out zones where it would be very ambiance music and very chilled music. And we back then were saying do 528. So, well, why? Just play this frequency in certain songs, do 528, and just look what happens. And people chilled out, and so they lasted longer. They spent some time in the green room, chilled out, then go back to the club, spent more money in the club, so they lasted longer. So clubs did that because it made people last longer, and there were certain businesses that would have the whole thing of piped music. Originally it was certain ambience music, it was certain music at certain frequencies that would chill people out, so as they go to the next meeting they would start to relax again and chill out without even realizing. And there were certain aware businesses that do this purposely, that have music in the background, but it's particular music, it's certain music, certain frequencies or certain styles to relax people or to get them stimulated in certain ways. And the music is a tool. It's and it's not just something that sounds good. It's meant to heal you, empower you. It's meant to do the things it does. That's the ancient knowledge, and that is coming back. And it's just knowing what it does, and then knowing how to use it.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean that just echoes. There's so many ripples that can be taken from that. I mean, it really is. It's so true. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of why the humming, especially because it's to 528, that's where it holds power. Is it's kind of taking this concept you're doing of having multiple forks, but then you're kind of saying that humans were tuning forks, right? I like to view humans as like instruments. Like we're all universal kind of instruments singing our own song, even though we've been taught hashed English language, which is just hashed frequencies, but really there's this big universal song going on. And that humming is kind of like a way to sync us up in the same vibration on that same tone, the same concept as monks oming, but just specifically at this time now with this move into our heart center, I think that 528 just had so much power, and that hum, like as I've been doing in these meditations, there's just each week there's more people who are saying thank you, or that they're really feeling it. They felt that we're able to tune into that space more. And whenever I do it, like you can see my face, I just start to like smile and get really sweaty because it generates all this loving energy. And music is just unbelievable, honestly.
Well, think of music. Why when people love a song, they sing it. Why do they sing it? Because they're trying to match that frequency. They don't realize that's what they're doing, but that's what you're doing. You're trying to max, in body language, people know that, if you inspired by somebody and they start doing this, you unconsciously start mimicking them, or if they pop up, and same with music. We sing it because we're trying to match that frequency. We're trying to go with that frequency. So it's a very powerful thing. And I mean, traditionally in China, they would have orchestras playing music while you did Qigong or Tai Chi or exercise, because again, it's about harmonizing frequencies, and so the idea of if people doing it with the sound, add some Qigongs to that, do certain different exercises, that's why you and I, when you start adding that together, that's like that's like putting a speaker on or amping up your tuning fork. You build the energy up even more, and it vibrates even more. It helps you tune in even more to the energy. Yeah. That's what Qigong does to me, and that's why like I said, that's why sound and Qigong resonates, because the Qigong is sort of like shaping a lump of metal. Instead of it just being a lump of metal, you shape the metal into a tuning fork. So that's what Qigong does. It shapes you into an instrument for you to be tuned into that frequency.
Wow. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do some experimentation with Qigong, because wow, it sounds like kind of what I already do with or I guess what I'm learning more of doing with music, because kind of early on my journey, I was, well, first, I've been blessed with just an incredible best friend for most of my childhood that was very spiritually enlightened. And he connected me with this man who wrote a book called A Soul's Journey, which is basically like the process of going through reincarnation to get to here. And I met him, and I guess when Sean, my best friend, had brought up my name, he'd asked what I was doing. He said he's doing music. He's like, good. Tell him this affirmation. Or like said a few first things, but then said he needs to know this affirmation is, I am the instrument, not the doer. So from the beginning of this kind of like musical thinking, I've been, like conceptualizing this idea of us all being instruments. And I mean, originally, I guess I was thinking instrument meant like, music or whatever, but it's literally like a vessel thing. It's like a body thing. And that Qigong, being able to, I'm saying it right? Qigong?
Yeah, Qigong.
Being able to tune yourself as that instrument and then amplify it and then like move with it. And that sounds beautiful. And for us to be able to collaborate on that too, that would be incredible. And I know that so many people would be influenced by that, and it would raise so many vibrations, especially with this, especially with the 528. I mean, it's just,
and this is and again, so like when a quick plug for Dr. Z, the whole Vibio, when Vibio is, because I'm actually one of the beta testers, and we're allowed to all pick only 11. We're only allowed to pick 11 people that we want to bring onto Vibio to request. So I'm publicly saying now, you're one of my 11.
Thank you.
So I want.
Thank you. I applied and I didn't get a response back, so that's amazing.
So yeah, you're one of my 11.
Yes.
Whatever happens, you're one of my 11, because I think because the whole point of Vibio is so the post there like 30 seconds, but I think she's going to say they can go up to 1.5 minutes, but it'll be like 3 vibes. The posts are called vibes, and so but the cool thing, and hopefully some of your viewers know, SoundCloud. On SoundCloud, if you liked, I really like that bit, and I really like that bit. Well, with these vibes, you're going to be able to do the same thing. So as like for 30 seconds, I talked about like 15 different things. You could say, I want to know more about this. And you could, I would put the comment, but you can actually, on Vibio, you'll actually be able to do a video comment reply. So rather than just writing a reply, or you can actually create a video, press play and say, I really want to know more about that. What's that you talked about? Or that reminded me of this. And then you create like, so each vibe is sort of like a hashtag or like a tune. And those tunes will make other tunes. And those tunes will make other tunes. So from that hashtag, you will have a stream of different things connected to. So if you say, I love music, and so I love music, 528, instead of getting on TikTok, you get 500 random bits of stuff that got nothing to do with what you like. But on Vimeo, it will actually be zoned purely to what you like. So if you start like the things that you heart vibe or like, you'll get more things that are like that thing, because each one of those vibes is like a hashtag, and so therefore it has a correspondence. And so the more things you say, I like this, it will start to personalize what you see to what you like. Where Facebook, random stuff, I'm friends with 5,000 friends. I don't see 5,000 different what they're doing. I'm lucky if I see 100.
Yeah.
And like TikTok, and all the time I get random things turn up. It's like, I didn't ask for this. And also one of the biggest things about Vimeo is freedom of speech. It will be this whole idea of, you can talk about freely about the things you want to talk about, because it narrows down what you want. Is that if you're not interested in listening to 528, you're not going to hear about it. But if you sort of go, what's this? And you like it, heart vibe it, suddenly you get all this information. So with this ability to freedom of speech, you're not going to get I've many times I've been banned a couple of times or shadow banned on TikTok. I've definitely been banned on Facebook a billion times. YouTube, it's funny. It's like TikTok. I've got on LinkedIn, which is like a business thing. I've got over 20,000 contacts on LinkedIn. I've got 5,000 on Facebook, because that's the maximum, and then I've got something like 3,000 on Facebook. On YouTube, I've got 600, I think. And it's like, I'm sure, I know I talk a lot, but I'm pretty sure a little bit more than 600 would like what I do. Yeah. But it is what it is, it's this thing of, on with Vimeo, there won't be that. There'll be that, you'll find the things that you want to find, and they won't be shadow banned. They won't be prosecuted for talking about things that the mainstream doesn't want to talk about. Vimeo wants to be the new consciousness, the new awareness, the new vibration, positive vibes. That's its main calling card. It's about positive vibes, but it's about, you get to talk about what you want to talk about, and you get to talk about it openly, and you can interact people, and you're not going to get cut off, just because somebody else doesn't like what you say, because the whole idea is, if there's bullying, they're going to crack down on that, and in a positive way. But it's this whole thing of, let's have freedom of speech, let's have open balance, it's positive, and you're coming from an open mind, not closed mind. Let's talk about that, let's vibrate that. And I freaking want you on there. You're one of my 11, so I want you on there, because I will, I will definitely, not only I want you on there for yourself, but I want you on there for me, because I want to vibe with you. I want to be part of your tribe, because your friends will be called a tribe. So I want to be part of your tribe. I definitely want to be part of your tribe.
I appreciate that so much. And I'm so grateful that platform is going to exist. The second that I heard about it, it's like, that is it. Because I have, bringing this message of 528 to the current consciousness, I have dealt with a lot of censorship, as you have, as most light workers have, and as kind of these musical behemoths take over, and like the record labels, even though they've lost a good amount of power, but like Spotify, all these people take over, that even increases the censorship. And I like on one of these last albums I released is called All You Need Is 528. It's like a meditation album with 10 songs. It took me 4 months and 5 different distributors to get that up. And I was told that it wasn't music. I was told that, it's just like the most ridiculous things. So the fact that, the freedom of speech, freedom to post anything is so liberating. And it's also just literally going to wake up everybody, because I'm sure once you get on one of those vibes, you start the rabbit hole, but it's like a positive rabbit hole that brings you down to the places that you do want to see. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for getting me on that platform. As I the second she sent it out in Paradigm Shift, I tried to sign up, but I know that I haven't been super active in the Paradigm Shift, so I'm not as well known, or whatever it was. But
I know they've limited it, because it's literally starting this Friday. So this Friday, Friday, which is Christmas Day, but they're starting it Friday. But cool, awesome. But they're going to give us access. So there's 30 beta testers for around about a month, I think. And then it's going to be open. They're going to start, they're going to say to us, invite 11 people. So the idea, so then we invite 11 people, then that 11 people invite 11 people, and that 11 people, and so on and so forth. So it will build up. It will in a wave. It's basically, that's why I loved it, because 11, it's a wave. You keep these 11s, they will be waves. So will be waves of people joining. So it will start amassing and growing. And so I love that. I love that whole concept and the whole idea. But it's the idea of, when I sort of looked at TikTok, I thought, it's going to be able to do what I want to do, which was, I wanted to do like videos where people could interact to them, and then I found no, it can't. Not though you can respond to a comment, but people can't respond to your video with a video, but video can. And and so, and again, hearing what you do is like, you know, oh, you know, I hope, you know, please let me use it as, you know, in demos. I'll do lots of different Qigongs and they'll go everywhere. And it's the whole point of getting that information out, getting that, you know, that vibration out. And, you know, it will start off, you know, doing it that way. But I have full intention to, your stateside. Are you state Canada?
Yeah, I live in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yep. You're UK, right?
I'm UK at the moment, yeah, but there's definitely passion now. Up to this year, my daughter was like a teenager, so it was, I always wanted to stay around. She's 18 now, and she's got a great thing for New York. So if anything, she'll be coming with me and saying, "Yeah, okay, you can go to New York. I'm going to Minnesota. I'm going to lots of places, but you know, you've got to meet up with me at some point." But yeah, you know, so I've always felt the urge with America, one of places, but it's getting out there. You know, what I've done a lot of online stuff. I teach online, and 80% of my students are American. 80% of them, because they vibe with the way I teach and what I do. So, you know, it's that thing, you know, and I love teaching. I love, you know, sharing that knowledge, and I try to do it as for a lot of people as affordable as possible, because, you know, it is, you know, yes, I want money to live, and but while we have to have money, I need money, but I don't want to narrow it off to only the rich can afford me. I try to make it as affordable as I can to help as many people as I can. And hopefully, you know, that will recuperate back, and that will, you know, spread out the vibes. So working, you know, with sound and working with you, to me, is part for my benefit and your benefit and each other's benefit, because the whole idea is, you know, yeah, you know, this Qigong on its own, it does this much, but, you know, it has this much power. Music on its own has this much power. Dong! Yeah. Put them both together. It's like a Tibetan bowl and a...
It's exactly what it is. Love it. Yeah, bringing the energies of those together is only going to amass a bigger vibration too. I don't know how much of the music or my music you've looked into, but I have you know, I have like really kind of intense hip hop songs. I have like EDM songs, and then super ambient, kind of meditative tracks. I've kind of been all over the place. So that kind of leaves the door open for you to maybe do some type of, you know, Qigong that is.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a couple on. I looked at 4 or 5 of the sounds on Instagram. Where else? Let's plug you. Where else are you? Where else can we find you musically, sound wise?
Yeah, so I'm still looking for a home, I guess. My main home right now is SoundCloud, because that is kind of the main platform that allows me to upload everything. I do try to get everything up on Spotify, but that extremely censored, and they do not like meditation music, so I had to jump through a lot of loopholes to get my meditation music up. But I do like a weekly meditation Monday. I upload meditation Monday every Monday on YouTube, SoundCloud, and on Loom, which is kind of this new platform as well. But yeah, unfortunately, that can't be on Spotify. But it creates like this cool thing where I can do like remixes of the meditation stuff. So I've uploaded albums of like different meditation music.
I'll definitely look you up on I've got Spotify, and I've got SoundCloud. I don't use as much, but if you're on there, I'm definitely going to start looking at that. And I definitely we'll definitely figure out, because obviously if I get direct download, so I can actually, you know, edit that music into the video and do it that way. And I freaking love this idea. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but it's finding people. You know, there was a couple about 10 years ago now. There was like a sort of I think he was a trance dance sort of guy. So, you know, I'd love to use your voice, you know, your voice in certain stuff. And we did something, it didn't really work out, but, you know, so I'd love to, you know, there's so many ideas I've sort of got, and plant the seeds for and see if you like them, and just go from there. Really, it all so, and it's ironic, again, is it was only like a month or a couple of months ago that I met like Z, and that's, but went off a big fractal. Now Brendan, like Skull Babylon, Mystic Spider-Man, I've known for over 10 years, and his mum knows me. His mum's an old house boggy, I freaking love that. It's awesome. And so now meet you, and it was really like similar to like with Dr. Z. It's like, I saw you then. It's just I saw you on the screen, and it's like I'm drawn to this guy. I keep getting drawn to this guy. So it's going, well, he's talking. So he's obviously he's on something. So okay, let's look on, right, get his name. Right, well, there's his name. Right, right, TikTok. It was Instagram first. I saw Instagram, then I saw you on TikTok. It's like, it's him, Bosh. And so I was like, hello. And
that was such an amazing moment. I was so grateful you popped in there. Yeah, and every stream that I've been in, I've been like a side stander on a couple, but then the ones that I've watched too, I've always felt very called to your energy as well. Whether that's you doing stuff with your hands or even just you sitting there, it's we very, very much so resonate. So thank you for saying that this whatever this idea you've been manifesting for so long, I'm super grateful that I can have any resonant energy with that. And I am you're saying that the direct downloads, like I'm more than willing to send you anything, however I can get that to you, whether that's Google Drive or if it's small enough.
I had that. Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll definitely figure that out for sure. But yeah, this is, like I say, this is the beginning. It's definitely the beginning. Even more so now, it's definitely the beginning. But now I can actually hear you, and I'm actually getting more than 30 seconds of you talking. It's even better. I mean, it's a shame for Instagram, but it's awesome for us. So this has been really, really cool, and I always know when I'm vibing with somebody, because it's 2:00 in the morning here in the UK and I'm wide awake, I'm buzzing, because I'm loving this conversation, and it's like, when do we start? What do we, what's next? So it's like, but yeah, it's everything is small steps, and this is definitely a good beginning.
The catalyst kind of moment. I agree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very, very special. I'm super glad that you invited me today. I had no idea that this was going to be today. I know I reached out on like TikTok just to extend gratitude, but I did not expect this at all. And this is perfectly timed, because I'm very much so, like, I released an album like 2 weeks ago, and I'm kind of in this I'm in the part of the wave where it starts to go up again and starts to be kind of crest over. So this is not only just for me, but for also the community and kind of everybody around here. It's a very, just feels very building, and I'm super excited to see what this wave has to offer.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely for sure. And with today, I go with the flow as the metaphor of the river. I very much, and it's like Monday to Friday I do. I do the shows, and sometimes, I quite like. I used to actually have a show called The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, and that was my interview talk show, and basically talking about like the Tao is like, what is somebody's Tao? What is your way? What is your path? So I did actually say that I definitely feel I will on Vimeo, I'll bring that back. I'll bring that show back, because it did, it was one of these crazy things with like YouTube. On YouTube, I was getting like 50, 60 people. Went on to Facebook, suddenly I got 3,000 people watching. I actually got 600 people, and the first, so I did it for 6 months on YouTube, and it was getting 60 people. Went over to Facebook, and originally I got 600 people the first one, then it went to 1,500, around about 1,500, then it went to 3,000. Then about a year and a half ago, suddenly, boom, 400 or 500 people again. Like suddenly the water was turned off. and it's like, oh, shadow ban time, okay. But you know, so the idea of bringing that show back and, you know, doing this, having you on here, and we'll, you know, talk again, or play some sounds as well, or whatever. That idea informs me, you know, as well as everything else. So I definitely will, if Fibio does what I think it does, and it definitely feels like it does. When that builds up, yeah, I'll have different shows on there, and you know, have my Qigongs on there and different shows, because they're even talking about having it as for the creators, content creators, having it like a Patreon style thing. So there'll be, you know, a couple of, you know, you can actually, you know, create your own money, you know, earn there, you know. So, you know, you're teaching, or, and you say like, oh, you know, I do music meditations, come, you know, for so much, you know, for $10 a month, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, or an individual price, come and do a private, you know, a private class with me, and they'll get a link. And, you know, rather than at the moment we have to do things like this, we'll go and Zoom and then put Zoom onto Facebook or Zoom onto YouTube, it'll actually be on the app itself. It'll be on Vimeo. So that's what they're creating. So they'll have that service for you. Of course, they'll take a little percentage, you know, that builds them up. But the whole idea is that, you know, they're helping you create your own community and grow your community and grow, you know, building a business from your passion, which is, I truly believe that's what we were meant to do. We were always meant to thrive from our passion, because, you know, what's the point of being passionate about a hobby? No, you're meant to live, you know, that hobby's meant to, you know, work at, you know, meant to help you. And there's so many entrepreneurs out there that say, you know, do the things that, you know, the thing that you love, other people will want to learn it. You know, if you do it really well, and then other people will want to, because you're enjoying it and the vibes are coming off you.
Yeah.
You're vibrating, that energy is resonating from you, they'll want to learn from you, they'll want to pick that up. So that's the people, you know, rather than doing jobs that you don't love and don't hate, you know, as I used to be a chef, and there's one thing, you know, when you don't have the passion for chefing, the food just don't taste the same. When you love cooking, that food tastes, you can taste it, you can feel it, because you're vibrating that energy. It's like doing this over the food. I'm vibrating that energy over the food. You're raising the vibration of the food. Wow. That's a thing. So when you're doing the thing you love, that vibration affects the thing you're doing, whatever you're creating, and then people feel that vibe and get drawn to it. That's the point. That is how we're meant to live. We're meant to live by our childlike nature, being in the things we love, thriving in that energy, vibing. That's what's meant to happen. Yeah. And I feel is that if what you believe is true, so you focus on that and start aiming towards that. When the current gets a bit too strong, just relax, go with the flow, get to the bank, start again. You know, as my dear old nan would say, actually bring, let's see, oh, that's it. I'm knocking everything over. It's super clumsy time. So a clock, yeah. My nan would say, and I actually leave this broken for a reason, a clock is right twice a day, meaning, you know, whatever you believe, whatever you're passionate about, sooner or later, you'll be in fashion. Sooner or later, you'll be right. Sooner or later, the light will shine in you and it'll be your turn to shine. So you don't give up on what you're passionate about. If you know, keep going with that passion, like you're doing, like I'm doing, keep going. And guys out there, whoever's listening, you keep with your passion and you know, and you know, yeah, tweak it a little bit and change it, but don't give up on that passion. Don't, you know, whatever, you know, I love my papa, you know, my dad, but he never believed in what I do, and I've lost friends because they don't believe in what I do. That, oh, I should give up, you know, it will never work, I'm a loser because I won't, and I never will give up, because I don't believe in giving up on what you love, your passion, what makes you, you know, what makes you sing, what makes you talk like this for 900 miles a second for 15 hours. That's your passion. What really you feel in your heart, that's your passion. You shouldn't give that up. You should find ways. If you have to do 15 jobs and do your passion, then you do what you have to do. But eventually that passion will lead to other things. I truly, truly, truly believe that. And like now, I'm getting examples of that. This year, in some ways, it's been interesting. In other ways, it's been awesome. And this year is definitely a year where things are opening up. There's Vimeo, there's you, all these things are starting, and I'm going, you're going, me, it's you, and it's like, well, it's both of us. But the whole idea is we're finding our tribe. I'm your tribe, you're my tribe. We're vibing at a certain thing, a certain frequency. Here we go.
Yes.
My new logo. Just hit a fork. And yeah, but the whole idea is that when you allow yourself to flow with that energy, things happen, things connect, and things vibe. So like for us, it's like, thank you so much for Skull, for Mystic Spider-Man, for doing his vibe, because he's brought us together. We've connected through technically Mystic Spider-Man, and that's that's the point. There's all these interconnections. Everything interconnects to something else, and that's there. With you guys out there, you're listening. What if this is vibing to you? It will also connect you with something else. It will bring you to something else. When you do one thing, it connects to something else. Everything you do enhances everything else you do. That's the Shaolin philosophy, that's the samurai philosophy, and that's the Taoist philosophy.
Just mic drop right at the end of that. I love it. Does I don't know, this might be a Vedic term, but Dharma, does that that seems it's like you're whatever you're passionate about, it is that Dharma, is the literal reason and function you're here. I actually, that term function, have you ever heard of Serapis? Kind of the higher dimensional being Serapis. He wrote a book, or he channeled himself through somebody to write this book and introduce the concept of functions. And that even kind of brings in this concept of like the mathematical matrix, is that we are all, instruments, but also equations here for a specific function. And that function is our specific passion and purpose for being on this planet. And that's what we love in our purest form, or purest part of consciousness. And that's literally our mathematical function on this whatever vibrational plane that we're existing on.
Well, it's like the word philosophy. The word philosophy comes from the Latin word philo, which means love of knowledge. So a philosopher, a true philosopher, loves knowledge, is a lover of all knowledge. And the problem with certain philosophers, they've restricted themselves to, oh no, I only like this, or I only go to that, and they become, and again, when you lose your childlike nature, you start becoming super serious. As kids, we think, oh, the best thing, oh, I can't wait to be an adult because I do all this stuff, and then when we're adults, we wish we were kids and back at school again, because you've lost that childlike nature. You're out of balance. You're not in balance. You're meant to, as an adult, you still have that childlike nature, that ability to learn, the love of knowledge, and learning, the things, or finding the things you want to do. And that's the whole, that's an important thing. And I think that's what's coming back. That's what this era is all about, is people going back to this passion, going back, love, the heart chakra is unconditional love. It's the difference between, when you fancy somebody, that's passion, but then, when you that fancying somebody turns into a relationship, and you turn into, you actually really love that person, you need that person, that's compassion. So it's your passions need to turn into compassions. You become compassionate about the hobbies you love, not just, oh, I love them, oh, I'm really obsessed with this. You want to love it, you want to nurture it, because everything is, all the ideas that you have, every one of your tunes is an entity, it's its own entity, it's an own vibration. So when you play them, and when other people play them, they're interacting with that energy, that frequency, they're communicating. And that's why songs can, one person can play a melody in one way and somebody else plays it in a totally different way, and it changes the song changes. So and where you can get one song and you could put 528 and put it in, and certain beats put it into a song, and you can change that song, like you said, for Spotify, that you changed, by remixing it, you changed it, made it acceptable, but the frequency is still hidden in there.
Yeah.
Is the I actually have always loved with Mystic Spider-Man, and that's why he never, I'd be doing my stuff in the background, and it's just that nobody know, or finally they say, what the freaking hell's going on, or what's he doing, or why is there energy, and it's because I just do it. I don't make a big thing about it. I just do it because that's my passion. That's one of my passions, at least. So just doing it. I'm notoriously known. One of my fellow Chi brothers, who's a Sifu, one of my students who's a Sifu himself now, he always says, "Oh, Boggie, every time I pick you up from the airport or I'll pick you up from the station, you're always doing Qigong. Don't you get embarrassed?" So I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm doing it for me. Do it for, and that's the true passion, when you stop caring about what other people think and you do it for you. That's the passions that you want to do it for you, because when you start vibrating at your frequency, somebody will be attracted, because everybody has a tone that they are drawn to. Everything is, if it's liked by you, it's liked at least by a couple million people, because nothing in this world is only to one person. Everything resonates to somebody in some way. That's the whole point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, maybe you should just upload this whole thing. Just let everybody download. You can cut out what I said. Just let everybody download.
No. I'll do it in maybe 15-minute chunks or 10-minute chunks. But yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just do it in sections. So I don't know how long we'll be going for, actually, but it might be 127 127 Instagram posts, but I might because for Instagram you can actually set it up. It was Instagram TV. I can't remember the actual. Yeah. So I'll just create a whole series. So it'd be music and Qigong, or music and Daoism and music. It'll be something like that.
Part one of
yeah, one of 527.
We'll end at 528.
That might split it up into 2 minutes then to do 528. But I'll work on that. Don't worry. That's almost a mission now. Or we're gonna have to do this in the future, and we'll make 528s. So maybe I might do it in 5-minute bites. That's enough for a lot of people. 5 minutes, and then you want to do the next one. So maybe 5-minute bites. We'll see.
Well, I think there's a lot of potential for future collaborations, even just discussions between you and I. And I think that people even tuning into that's just going to raise their vibrations even more. And to kind of bring like this wave, this community concept I've been working on, wave is an acronym. It's WAVFE, if you can visualize that. It stands for We Are Vibration, Frequency, and Energy. If you can think of Nikola Tesla, if you want to understand the secrets to the universe.
Nikola Tesla, he's the man. Great respect to him.
So we kind of base this concept of we are vibration, frequency, and energy at a 5th dimensional level. We are everything. All of everything around me is vibration, frequency, and energy. So it's a very primitive kind of community now. We only have like 70 people, but hopefully, when it grows, we're hoping to have kind of these, like, whether they're different separate shows or like a whole Wave Wednesday that's 24/7, and hoping that works with like Vibio or Vibio, however that manifests as well. But then that brings in Electric Lotus, who you connected with on the Instagram, and if you tune into one of her lives, she has like a room, the size of my room, but all of these 7 chakra bowls around her, with these like this massive root chakra bowl and like third eye bowls that vibrate my phone and all of these like crazy things. So it's almost like as we connect and as we connect with other people moving through these next kind of couple months, or whatever is going to happen in the next couple months, it's almost like we're moving towards this kind of like healing collective through sound and this kind of like meditation, awareness, and then the rest of the people that are building a paradigm shift as well, just being these conscious beings. It's almost like this web of creation that we're all doing, whether that's healing or just speaking or whatever. I guess speaking is healing. It's like the creation concept is like a fifth dimensional internet almost, and that's what Dr. Z is creating, is that we're all going to be able to be off of these creations and create off of creations and create like fractal experiences of creations. It's like I had this, the night that I had that realization of humming into 528, I might have even written it down, maybe that's where I'm remembering it, but it was love is the only thing in the universe that can be built on top of, and can be built, something can come out with love, also attuning to love. And fear, you can't do that because you get stuck in the vortex and you recycle and recycle and recycle. But when you're with love, it can like create another fractal experience. And like that's how all of us exist, is we're all different vessels of that fractal experience. So having Wave on that too, like it's almost like Vibio, or I keep Vibio, will have all these amazing things, and then I see Wave just being this like amazing kind of facility, like a literal sound healing facility, where I was recently in school for audio production. I kind of learned the audio side and taught myself how to create music, and one of my teachers was like the most world famous acoustician that lives right now. He made this thing called Acoustic Geometry, is his brand. And I brought up this concept to him, and he was super on board for, obviously paying him, but like being a part of it. And then also just like the concept of it. But like, imagine, so sound obviously has this just incredible, unfathomable to human ability. But have you ever been in, I guess I only have one place to reference this. Have you ever been in like a room where when you stand in the middle, it's like everything sounds amplified, and it's like the acoustics are perfect in that one place, but then when you step out of that place, it's different? So
there's churches and certain.
So imagine that concept, but now everything around it is a specific frequency being focused into that focal point, and then you're laying or sitting or meditating in water within inside of this kind of like acoustic chamber, like frequency sound healing chamber. And then taking that a step further, doing moving meditations, Qigong or Tai Chi or whatever that person is called to do. I mean, that's unfathomable, the amount of healing that can go into that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I guess I more or less just wanted to plant the seed, because like this is something that I've genuinely felt. My function here is to be a messenger of 528, but also to help facilitate this new kind of era of sound healing. Like the things that we're setting up in this world are going to be used by humans for the next 1,000 years. And I just felt called to share that, I guess, to plant that seed.
No, I'll plant away. It's awesome. I love that idea. I think it's super cool. Definitely, even if I'm just promoting it, it's definitely something I'd love to be a part of in some form, in some way, for sure. For heck.
I can imagine, and again, I don't know if that's going to be virtual. I'm hoping it ends up being like a community where, there's a few different places, a few different like healing facilities. But I can most definitely see you probably even being a leader in that, with your demonstration of the Om, and then bringing it up to, like, I could feel that inside of me. It's like, oh, why I've never thought of that. And I could feel that. So, yes, I have much to learn. Much to learn.
Well, we both have, don't worry. So, because everything and everyone is your Sifu, and everybody I teach is my Sifu, because I learn from learn from them. That's the whole point. You know, there is no you know, a lot of my one of my fellow teacher, he loves calling me Master Sifu because he knows how much it winds me up. Because for me, master is, there's a little bit of a connotation that, you know, oh yeah, I'm the top, and you know, it's like a little bit like, you know, sometimes a guru, you know, I'm the top, or you must follow me, you must worship me, and it's like, no, I'm, you know, I'm a Sifu, I'm a guide, I point a finger, but you do that for me as well. You know, we balance off each other. And that's very much, you know, how I focus on is that it's all about, you know, everybody's learning, you know, you never stop learning. You know, the only time technically you stop learning is when you're dead, and then you reincarnate and you start learning again. So you know, you never stop learning.
Yeah.
But you know, so the whole idea is, you know, there's always more to grow and there's always more to expand. And the idea of I definitely think, I mean, I think a lot of people now say, oh, you know, things will never be the, you know, it's always going to be like this. Nothing lasts forever. Always remember, nothing lasts forever. You know, things changed and they're now like this. It'll change again. Nothing like, the river always flows. The water will always find a way, even when blocked with a dam. Sooner or later, it'll find a crack and it'll burst that dam. This is just a dam. This time in our civilization, it's just a dam. Blocking the flow. The flow will never allow it to stay for long. You know, you got to know that, you got to feel it, you got to, you know, believe it, because it is true.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's true. It will never last a lot. So things will change. You know, it may never necessarily go back exactly. I don't want it, actually, to be honest, like it was. I want it better. I want it to flowing. I want things like we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel, you know, this is sort of activated the virtual world, you know, like, so with online stuff, doing things online, and then we come together physically. So it's both, you know, it's both virtual and physical. I think, you know, there's interesting things. There was a few years ago, there was an opportunity to have money. If I had the money at the time, I would have focused on the physical world. And then, like now, I would have gone to, in the UK, there's a place called Brighton. It's actually my surname, and it's actually where there's a beach. I think in New York, there's a Brighton beach as well, or Brighton at the coast in New York. So I would have, because I love the ocean, the waves. Synchronicity. I love the ocean charges me up. Is woods do it to a certain degree, but the ocean is where I really get empowered. I get supercharged. So I normally, once a week, if I can, or once a fortnight, I go to the ocean. Now we're all locked down here. Now I've been restricted, can't do that. So, but you keep flowing, keep going, and things will change sooner or later. But so the reason what did I bring that up? Oh yeah, because originally that's where I was heading. I had got this opportunity with this money. I would have gone down the coast and I would have focused on physical stuff. Well, now I'd have been stuck down there with no money. The physical stuff all closed up because all classes would have been closed off. It would have been. So what happened was, because that didn't work, I continued to focus the online stuff, which has led me to you. It's led me to Z. It's led me to all these things. So things that, you know, when you go with that flow, even if you think you're going through stagnant water, if it's flowing, it's going, it's growing. If it's growing, eventually it'll be glowing. So, you know, it allows that energy to glow and allow that energy to find its way. You'll always, and now it's like a year ago, before this happened, a year ago, it's like, oh, you know, I know things are expanding, but I can't see, you know, logically, physically, I couldn't see where it was going to expand. I couldn't see the opportunities. I could feel them, but I couldn't see them. Now I can see them. I can see these opportunities. You know, they're still just, you know, at the forefront, but I can see this. If I can see this, that means I can see, that's what I was seeing. The next step, I can see further, I can see more. So that's the whole point, is staying positive, you know, keeping with the idea, keeping with what makes your passion, what lets your passion grow and flow and glow, and keep with it and keep going. And I really truly believe in that. And what's happened here and with Z and whatnot, it's just made me even more adamant you know, this is the way, this is right, this is the way it goes.
100%. And to even for us to so quickly hop on camera and immediately kind of like sync up, that again further proves that this is really how the way life in general, but also communication. Yes.
Yeah, drop the mic. No, just hit the tuning fork. Because like, you know, whenever you feel, and Albert, I'm pretty honest. I am pretty honest, but you know, I feel, you know, really, have we only known each other like, or actually probably talked like for what, an hour? Really, feels like longer than that. And that is, to me, past connection, past life connection. That is the frequencies matching up, you know, because it feels, you know, this feels a good vibe. This feels right. This feels that, you know, you know, you know, we're connected, and you know, and I'm, you know, really feeling that, and you know, I said not putting words in your mouth, but that's what I feel. So that's how it feels to me, and I always go with that as much as I can, as much as it, you know, because some people, you know, in the past, you people, oh, you know, oh, well, you know, we've only known each other, you know, 5 minutes, and you're already like acting like, you know, we've known each other for ages, because we have, or at least that's how it feels. That energy, for me, there is no past, present, or future. It just is, and you know, is that if so, if you're vibing now with somebody, then think of that a year down the line, you know. Well, if that's down the road, then why are you waiting? You know, allow things to flow, allow it to be whatever it is. So,
yeah, I think if anything, if I learned anything from this, it was very much so that learning to let things flow. Because just even the visualizing that, how things have been flowing in and out, and how I've kind of tried to take some type of power in the last few days, or I guess my ego has tried to, but yeah, I'm super grateful for the amount of ways you've explained flowing and just this concept of wave, because I'm really kind of coming into that, and I don't know what it is, but it's even almost like there's me and a couple of kind of other creators in wave have talked about, like, when there's that, when the wave comes up, the whole thing, you know, it kind of crests over, but there's this one spot that there's sand before that, because the wave has to get up, and like there's this one little kind of like waiting room, or you know, whatever that is, before then you get caught into the wave and then it comes back up. But there's like always that kind of spot. It felt like I've been kind of in that. I made a song called Multidimensional Waiting Room back in July, and I feel like I've been kind of in this multidimensional waiting room, progressing and growing. It very much feels like we're kind of there's also been a lot of people in that, but 2021 and these energies are moving into our all of us getting out of that waiting room.
Yeah, yeah, very, very much so. I mean, yeah, I felt like I was in that waiting room for an awful long time, and you know, like I say, you know, I know my ticket's coming soon. You know, if you're thinking like you know, like waiting for the number, but I can't see the number. There's no freaking number. There's no number showing. You can hear it binging, and all you can hope is that your number gets called. But now, like I say, now it's like you know. Things you can see, you know, oh, actually I can see now, or the numbers starting to flicker back on. Now I can see, oh, I'm only a few away, you know. It's now, it's definitely, for me at least, and obviously for yourself and for a lot of people, there's definitely, that's what I felt, that's what sort of my sort of reading the energies was. There will be people where they're ready for this new level, that, you know, and there's other people they're not ready yet, and they see it as something totally different, or they desperately clinging on. But once they you know, once they're awakened, they'll see things in you know, a different light. And it's just, and the thing, the biggest for me, I learned a long time ago, you can't force people to be ready. If they're ready, they're ready. If they're not ready, they're not ready. You know, you know, there's a thing, there's a saying, like Qigongs are like an app, you know, like there was a few years ago, you know, almost maybe a decade ago, there was that thing of, you know, you want to find a restaurant, we got an app for that. You want to find, you know, your favorite song, we got an app for that. There's an app for everything. Well, Qigong's the same. You've got bad back, got Qigong for that. You get headaches, got Qigong for that. You want to improve your backhand in tennis, got Qigong for that. You want to enhance your ability to inspire or build up energy. If you're a healer and have more energy, got Qigong for that. You want to enhance your music skills or at least your inspiration for your music, got Qigong for that. There's Qigong for everything. So I can look at people and go, oh, there's Qigongs, but I can tell you're not ready. If I say the words, oh, no, that's for, that's not for me, whatever, just not for me. And it's like, there's an old saying, there's a Qigong for everybody, but not everybody thinks they're for Qigong. And you can say that with anything, until you're ready for it, it's just not ready, and it's getting used to that. But the interesting thing is now I'm definitely seeing more people being ready, more people, what is this Qigong? What were you talking? Oh, I'm really inspired. I'd love to, tell me more. So it's definitely building up. And the whole idea is for me to build up enough online presence so I can be self-sufficient. So then when we can move again, I can go out and, we can go to different places and do, so we can do the, I love the idea of moving from place to place, but I love the idea also of having set places, set centers where, so a certain time of the year I'll be at that center, a certain time of the year I'll be at that center. And so, because the nomadic side of me likes to be on the, the traveling Taoist and getting almost like Kane from Kung Fu, going from place to place, having adventures. But the idea of having set places as well and set certain times a year, you'd be there, set up, set up a retreat here and a retreat there and sound healing and sound bath here. And that idea, I love that as well. So, it's that idea of helping as many. This is why I love online stuff, because if I just did, physical classes, I could only technically help so many people. And even if I was moving about, I could only help certain people. But if you're online as well, not only are you helping lots of people, but you can see where you need to go, because if a lot of people are sort of saying in Minnesota, we'd love you to come here, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going next. And that's the whole idea of, that's why I definitely feel with people, if you have that traveling essence in you, if you want, to help, it's travel, that's good, but also being online, you have a globe. The globe is next door. Mm-hmm. The globe is in your room. You can. There are certain things obviously you can't do, but there's a lot you can. And music is global. Music can be done on this platform. That's the whole point, and in so many different ways. And as they enhance the speakers and they enhance headphones and ways that you can hear it, that will, because I know I'm telling you now that out there somewhere there's a guy desperate to create headphons for 528 for different frequencies, and they got the idea, but they need somebody that will want it, or that idea's been mulling around their head, and they're waiting for you. You're waiting for them. And we'll find them. That's the whole point. I believe the same with the speakers, ways of creating speakers, or creating speakers in things that will vibrate that 528 in the seats, or in the walls, in the furniture, so you can have the furniture all set up so it's all vibrating at that 528, mm-hmm. and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know?
Even the way to end it, even the morphic resonance of you saying that now extremely amplifies the possibility of that person, one, existing, and also manifesting and coming and interacting with either of us. I think that there's so much power in all of that, and the sound, like I said, the sound vibration of you saying that is potentially manifesting that thought in somebody else's head. Since going back to what you're saying earlier, like with the sun and the black hole, like your frequency just shot out and could potentially have just manifested across the world, and now some person in India is like, oh, let's make a 528 speaker, and you know, it might be their original thought, but you could have just manifested that right now.
That's why I said it. But that's the point, you know. Thoughts manifest things, and even you know, in religion, the Bible always says, you know, the word, well, you know, God said the word, and things were created, and that's how it works. You know, is science knows, you know, in quantum physics, that the observer affects the experiment. You are the observer. This is the experiment, you know. So you affect your reality, you affect things, you create things, and just by saying, you know, this is why, you know, going with your flow, just talking and expressing things, or and you know, your expressing is also your music. You know, you're expressing through the music. You're, you know, because you know, when I blast energy, I'm blasting information. I know information's going out, so I don't have to. I can talk the hind legs off a donkey and persuade it to go for a walk afterwards. But I don't have to, because I can just blast energy, and that says more. And music's the same, you know, that music, your intention inside the music, using those frequencies, using those tools, will enhance, you know, that is so, you know, music has inspired people in the past. Imagine what you do when you actually frequency, you know, have it at the right frequency, at a more positive frequency, let's say. Oh, yeah. Imagine what it can do then. Imagine what, you know, the whole point of in certain Bibles, they talked about certain heavenly sounds, you know, that there was heavenly music. Well, what if heavenly music is music played at 528? And forget the what if. Yeah. Music played at 528 is heavenly music.
Yeah, it comes from the kingdom. To parlay off of that, a fun little fact about or maybe not fact, who knows? A fun little thing about frequencies kind of encoded in the Bible is Jesus actually, or Yeshua, coded the solfeggio scale into the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, or the original whatever, and then the last one ends with like bread. Like, this is so ancient. And like even the because it talks about this in the book of 528 too, the hymn to Saint John was supposedly these sacred solfeggio frequencies, but they were aligned at 528. And even going into like the 144,000, if you've ever heard of them, like the book of 528 dives into that those 144,000 singing a new song, singing a new vibration almost. And that just gets connected throughout so many different places in the Bible. Have you ever heard of the key of the house of David?
Yeah.
It's references Isaiah 22 and a couple other times as well. But basically what it is he shall open and none shall shut. He shall shut and none shall open. And it's your vibration of love. Is if you have that love inside of yourself, you can choose to open that up to anybody else. But if they have a dissonant vibration or anything, like, you can just shut that off. And it's all of us being able to be open with that frequency, that love frequency, through music or just through our words, through our vibration itself. That is creating that, like, I guess to go back to the morphic resonance, us doing that is creating that resonance for others to be able to do that as well. And then, you know, we just keep doing this. And the more people are going to start to do this, and the more people are going to become these, already that we are, but they're going to, what was, you said Qigong is meant to turn you into one of these, right?
Yeah.
They're going to then be moving into their kind of form of this, the more that we do this and the more that we anchor the sound healing as well.
Yeah.
Not to bring the Bible, you know, super into it, but you're very right. That codes so much sound into there, and it's just like underlying text. It's like hidden.
Well, because the whole point is that the original, you know, the original language of the Bible is Hebrew, and the Hebrew like in Chinese, is a tonal language. There's actually, you actually, hear a lot of Hebrew. It's almost sung. You sing it, and there's tonal energies. And in Chinese is very tonal. It's very, very much, a tone. The word, if you the same word, if the tone goes up, it means one thing. Tone goes down, it means something else. It goes down and up, it means something. So up, down, up. And if it goes down, up, down, it means something else. So the tone actually changes the word. And the same with Hebrew. So in the Hebrew, because it was tonal, there's certain things that were said that were, when translated at least into English, when it's translated in English, means something. They changed the wording. There was a whole thing about Ezekiel. There was this rabbi who spoke Hebrew, did the Old Testament, and he would tell me, like, so where it says that man was made in the image of God, he says that's not what he says. He used to get quite angry about it. He says it states more. It's more like, it says everything is in the image of God, which is like this weird riddle. How can everything be in the image of God unless everything is God? Everything is collective consciousness. Everything is conscious and is that source energy, God source energy. Everything is God. Everything is from that God energy. So rather than being made by God, because religion comes from the Latin word religio, which means bond with a supreme being. So it's the ruler, it's the guru, it's the king, it's the being, and you're bonding with it. Buddhism and Daoism actually talks about everything is oneness. Everything is that godness. That's why in China and India, there has actually been 100 Buddha rooms where, from floor to ceiling, there's all these Buddhas. And that's supposed to indicate that everything is Buddha, that everything around you is that Buddha nature, the Buddha energy. Everything is consciousness, and consciousness is the collective consciousness, is source consciousness, God, the universe, whatever, banana, whatever you want to call it. It is, that collective energy, but we are all it. It's just that we don't see it right now because we've cut ourselves off from it. Why? Well, if you know everything, it gets a bit boring. If you know everything that that's going on, that's why we were learning new stuff's fun, and learning new stuff's interesting, because you then get to be the beginner again. So if we are if we are collective consciousness, if we are the source, then wiping our own memories, allowing us to start with not knowing things, allows us to have different experiences, allows us to learn. If we knew it all, when you know a joke and you've heard it 500 times, it starts getting less and less funny. So you want a new joke. So if you didn't know the joke, it would be funny again. So if you could keep forgetting that you knew the joke, it would be funny again. And you'd experience it in a different sort of way, because it's now funny in a different way. And that's, I think, or at least in Daoism, this whole idea of why we don't remember past lives, why we don't remember we're actually far more than we are, and we struggle to get there, to awaken, to ascend to that information, because it allows us to learn different things. It allows us to, to experience things in a different way, which is why, for me, I've gone past this fact of, there is no good or bad, there just is. Now, I said that 10 years ago, and I'd make quite a few people angry. I said 20 years ago, lots of people, oh, what about Hitler? What about this? What about that? Because good and bad, they see it as opposing opposites. When I say it now, I get very few people that get angry with me anymore, which tells me people are changing, things are changing, things are awakening. But the whole thing of why I say that is that all your past experiences, or whatever horrors that you've been through, if you're still here, and you obviously are because you're listening to me right now, that means you're freaking awesome. That means you're a freaking survivor, because you've gone through all those traumas and you're still here. On my talk show, The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, there's a woman called in Europe called I think it's Melindy. I always forget her first name. I think it's Melindy Black, and she actually went through gang rape. And one of the most shocking things for the press and the public was that she publicly said, like, she forgave the attackers who originally attacked her, and people said, "Why are you forgiving them? They did this horrible deed." And you say, "No, you misunderstand. I'm not forgiving them for them. I'm forgiving them for me, because by forgiving them, I can let go of that past trauma. I can move on and I can grow from it. That, yes, it was a horrible thing, but from that, I've learned that I'm a survivor, that I can, even from that, I can survive, and I'm still here. I'm far stronger than I knew I was. And from that show, I learned so much. I learned that, our past traumas actually make us strong. Every failure that we think was a failure is actually, one of my Sifus would say that like, if people say you failed, the only time you failed is when you're dead, and when you're dead, you reincarnate, and then you try again anyway. So in this life, if you're still alive, you haven't failed. You just haven't found the right way yet. Edison with the with the light bulb. It took 15,000 attempts to make a light bulb. How do you feel about those 15,000 or those 14,999 failures? And it says, I didn't fail 14,999 times. I just needed one success. It's not that there was all those ones that didn't work. All I needed was to find the one that does. So again, going back to that, never give up, is that you just got to keep swimming, like Dory, like Sifu Dory says, just keep swimming, because sooner or later you'll be right, because a broken clock is always right twice a day. So it's like, and that's the attitude I think we need to go to. Is this learning that we do? It's not failures, it's just lessons that taught you how not to do something. All you need to do is find the way how to do it.
100%. You can even apply that from less of a personal place and more to like a collective space as well. Everything that we're going through, just those not necessarily failures, but just learning to vibrate in a higher way. Yeah, that's
100%.
You say so many beautiful things in a row. It's like I go here, I go here, I go here. It's so amazing.
My other Sifu, Sifu Baz, my student who's now a Sifu in my school, he says, Boggie, you throw 100 things at a wall and you see what sticks. And I do that when I teach. I go, well, here's one thing, but actually here's another 20 things as well. And then right, okay, I think I've overwhelmed you now. Go off and play with them, and come back next week and we'll do it again.
And you'll dump them all out again. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I have so many things to expand on, and I'm even motivated to go create now. And I didn't even think I was probably gonna go to bed earlier because I have to get up and shovel. It just absolutely poured snow here for the first time in like 2 months, but yeah, like I'm just super appreciative for the space and for all of the light you allowed me to pick up on and download, because wow, it's just it was like one flow too. It's like a conscious flow, just the universe coming out of you. So thank you so much, just for the first time too, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty more of these.
Oh yeah.
And I'm very
well. Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, and thank you for listening, and thank you for everything you do, because it's works both ways. It definitely flows both ways.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Well, I'm gonna keep this out. Actually, I usually kind of keep it tucked away and only use it to like record with. I'll throw it in random songs, but I mean, I want to keep this out at all times now, because just the idea of going like this and charging up crystals. I mean, I am very much so into crystals. Obviously, I'm wearing these, or just doing this to charge anything, because I've as we get closer to intensified chaos, there's been predictions of like power outages or stuff like that, And in this technological era, you know, one of really the only ways I know how to generate 528 is by, you know, having my phone, generating it using a signal generator that is a plug-in or something online, or having that frequency. And this, yes, this, I really was underestimating the power that's held within the acoustic generation of this. And there's, I mean, I've taken away so much from this conversation, but this really is, this is going to help a lot. Just even thinking of myself like this too, because I would think of an instrument, and um, this brings it to a more universal kind of spiritual level as well. So just infinite gratitude, unconditional gratitude. That's another concept I've been learning, and something that got dropped to me last week. Like, somebody walks up to you and punches you in the face, and you say thank you, because if they would have punched anybody else, then that would have been reflected, and then they would have punched back. But because it's you, you have the chance to alchemize that energy and be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Just
I used to have one of my Sifus would you know, like we'd be like you know, moving furniture, and he'd stub his toe, and he would say thank you, because it's the universe. You know, that toe, all your reflexology, the part represents the whole. So different parts of your body represent different things. So him stubbing his toe meant something, and you know, and it's that, you know, that understanding. You know, when you see, you're thinking of something, and you suddenly see, you know, something in the sky, you know, something random, or you see a bird, or you see an ant, or a dog suddenly shoots past you. It's the universe talking to you. The universe talks to you all the time. It's just that most of the time we don't listen. You know, we hear random noise rather than the rhythms within that noise, the beats within that noise. You know, there was actually, I don't know if you saw it on Disney. I think it was a few years ago. There was a thing called Soul. There was a cartoon about soul, and it was this guy who you know, he was like a jazz musician, but he heard rhythm and everything. You know, like walking down the steps. You know, like, you know, putting his finger or stick or his finger across the railings. You know, he would hear beats within beats, and you know, and that's the whole point. You know, there is information everywhere, the sound, the music, or just knowledge. It's there, all everywhere. It's everywhere around you. Even if you're in an empty space, you know, the vibration's still there, the frequency's still there. You know, just like, you know, like the old radios. You know, just, you know, if you have a radio and turn the radio on, that frequency, suddenly the radio pops that music. Well, it's there. You can't see it and you can't hear it without the you know, the radio. You're the radio. You know, you can pick it up, these frequencies.
Wow, that's a really good metaphor, especially using the radio too, because the radio is a frequency modulated as well, and have been created with the intentions for harm. But imagine using something that's beneficial and meaning for love, and then also using, or just applying that to yourself. Just still breaking all the pathways. I absolutely love it. I'm excited to just like go listen to a frequency now and see what I hear, because I can hear something.
There's one.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, and that's the point. You know, see it in a different way, listen, hear it in a different way, feel it in a different way. Because you know, you can feel, you know, you can smell sound, you can feel sound, you can hear color. You know, it's you know, it is flipping on its head that everything, you know, if everything is frequency, color is a frequency. So if it's color is a frequency, so that means there is a tone there, there's an energy there. So everything, you know, everything, not just sound, but everything is sound. Everything is made, you know, we are made from sound. We are atoms vibrating at a certain frequency, and because my atoms are vibrating at a certain frequency, when I touch you, we appear solid. But if we change, one of us changed the frequency, we would like disappear through. You know, so what are ghosts? A ghost just something at a different frequency. You know, it's a whole, you know, you know, tangents upon tangents, fractals upon fractals. You know, everything is frequency. If everything is frequency, changes everything, because everything is more than one thing.
Yeah, that even goes to like aliens. Like when they come into the collective kind of Earth frequency, they literally phase into our frequency to get in. Like
Yeah.
that is sound really is unexplainable almost. But you've opened me up to so many new avenues of sound and so many different wavelengths that I could take this down, and just not even that I could take it down, but just the fact that they're open now is like, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
grateful. So
Oh.
grateful.
Well, and it's recorded as well. It's recorded, so I don't add. I probably will, but I don't have to repeat myself because it's already recorded. But you know, it is. But even when I repeat myself, I say, you know, another something else comes up and it goes off. It changes and alters. Always has. You know, that's the thing. But so yeah, it's all good. Why? But anyway, I will say that I probably will actually. I think I'm going to do some qigong and retire, as it's 3 o'clock in the morning here in the UK.
Yeah, wow. I'm super appreciative that you stayed up to talk to me. Thank you so much.
Well, I've got this. You know, I've actually taken. I took something like 11 days off. So you know, yeah, I might have normally been working, but I'm not. So yeah, so because I'm not working, I don't care. I go to sleep when I go to sleep. You know. Well, which when you watch a paradigm shift, you know, that can be an awful long time, because a short one is like 5 hours long. So
yeah,
because
my first meditation kept going too. I got to like 1 a.m. where I was like, I gotta go to bed. It was like 5 a.m. where you were when you turned out. And...
Yeah. It's like saying, no, I do need to sleep because I had things to do in, you know, that day, so I could get away with, you know, 12 o'clock. But you know, you know, it's like, well, you know, it's 5 now.
Yeah.
I think I actually only got 3 hours sleep, did a few things, and went back to sleep. But yeah, you know, it's yeah, I have to call it quits at some point. You know, I could keep going, but then again, everything else is delayed, and because it's Christmas Eve technically now for me.
Yeah, wow.
So there was a thing. Am I, you know, what, you know, I'm going to do shopping. Well, you know, I've got to do a bit of shopping and whatnot. So it's yeah, so I've got to go to bed at some point. So, but anyway, it's been a great pleasure. I've loved this immensely, and I'm looking forward to the future for sure. So, I'll definitely have a look at you on SoundCloud and Spotify, and yeah, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk more very soon. So.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm kind of in a little bit of a financial kind of issue right now, but I'm very interested in enrolling in to become a Sifu and to learn this knowledge of moving energy. That's just so new to me, and to incorporate that into meditation, I'm super excited for any of that, and would definitely very much so be interested in that. Just kind of in a little bit of financial struggle right now, but high risk, high reward. We're hoping, manifesting.
And well, we'll manifest it together. Don't worry. We'll definitely create some programs where both of us, you know, working together and helping people raise their vibration themselves. So, yeah, that I've already seen. You know, that's very tangible, very easy. And it's just having conversations like this, and you know, we'll figure out, well, we'll do this, so we could do this, we can do that, we can do the other. So it's not a problem. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So okay, so I'm going to say goodbye for now. I think, are you still host? Am I still host? I'm not too sure. Anyway, I can stop the recording on my end. So stop the recording. So love, chi and shen, guys. See you later. Bye for now.